get into today's episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Open Doors Open Mind YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and on our other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook and now TikTok. Links to all will be in the description below. But without further ado, let's watch the episode.
Hi guys, Jack again. Episode 2 of Mindset Matters. Thanks again for watching the first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've got plenty more guests coming on soon and I'd love some feedback on it. But yeah, episode 2. So today my guest is Luke Randall, a personal trainer from Berkshire. He's been in the fitness industry for about 10 years now. And he's had a load of different, clients over the years, different situations, body positivity, nutrition, mindset, motivation. The guy does the full shebang. Very knowledgeable guy, been through a lot in the industry, and he's currently changing his business from being on the gym floor and coaching to being a full-time online coach. So we're going to talk about the differences that's going to be for him and for the clients as well. So yeah, today's going to be a good, interesting chat. We're going to obviously talk about, the fitness industry as well. I know we brushed up on that with Keith last week. But yeah, we'll get going. So Luke, would you like to come on, my friend? Here's the big man. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, mate, very well.
Thank you for having me on.
No worries, mate. How are you doing today? You good?
Yeah, it's good. This is my first ever podcast.
First ever podcast. There we go. He's popped his podcast cherry.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's my opportunity today.
I know. It wasn't painful, was it?
No, it's exciting.
Exciting. There we go.
Good experience.
So basically, mate, like I said, personal trainer from Berkshire.
Yeah, Berkshire.
Bracknell. But yeah, personal trainer from Berkshire, mate. So obviously, tell us about your story, mate. Why did you want to become a PT, and what made you want to do it, and go from there?
All right, so I fell in love with training back in 2012 properly. When I first started, I was in school but dabbling in it, and my friends would take the piss out of me and stuff. And then obviously we left school. 16 was when the age I was allowed to start weight training. Loved it, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to work in a gym. All right. And then as time went on, I actually wanted to be a firefighter. So I applied for a job in a gym anyway because I didn't want to work in Next. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I wasn't passionate about retail.
Bootcut jeans.
Yeah. I worked in women's as well.
That's right.
Yeah. I
wear them. Yeah.
I did perks. So I applied for a job in a gym anyway, and I was 17 years old at this point. Got the interview, first ever interview I've ever had, and the guy was like, all right, so ask me all the questions that you would ask in an interview. And one of the questions he asked was, where do you see yourself going in the fitness industry? Do you want to be a PT? I just said no in confidence and said I want to be a firefighter. I didn't even know what the letters PT meant. I didn't even know. But yeah, obviously soon enough I found that out, obviously. And I really enjoyed working there. I didn't have any confidence when I first started. I was on 0 hours, and I said to my manager, I was like, look, I need more hours. I'm coming out of college. I'm 18. I'm fresh, and I want to get going. And he was like, back yourself, you'll be fine. And I was like, all right. So I did, and he loved how I worked. It went really well, and it got to a point where this is how I became a PT. So I was a gym instructor, 0 hours, and I wasn't actually officially qualified. But I was doing such a good job. People were loving the classes I was teaching. The members were screaming all good things about myself. Luke, we want more. So there was going to be an opportunity at some point within the next year of a promotion to a supervisor. And I was like, yeah, I want it. And he was like, it's yours when it comes up. You still have to do the interview, but it's yours. I was like, cool. Came up in the October of 2015. Me and my best friend at the time went for it. We were like, no hard feelings, whoever gets it, gets it. He got it over me because he was 24 and I was 18.
Yeah, you didn't want it anyway though, did you?
And then that's it. I was like, right, I don't know what my next move's going to be. I was like, I don't want to be a 0 hour contract with him getting the supervisor role means there's going to be less hours. I need to do something. I couldn't afford the PT course. It was $3,500 for a little bit of paper and obviously 0 hours. I was like, I'm gonna have to go down the loan scheme and pay it off over 3 years. I was like, right, cool, and that's like an extra £2,000 on interest. I was like, okay, let's do that. I'll bite the bullet. I'll do it. I'll get it somehow. So the PT course started in the January of 2015, and that was year 2014 when all that happened. This is 2015 now. The PT course started in January, finished in mid-Feb, and I had 2 months to make up the money before the first loan payment came out. And I managed to make enough money that I wanted to, had my birthday, and then had a little buffer for one of my uncles to make the $3,500, and then didn't have to pay the 3 years off, became PT, did 2 more months of gym instructing, and then became full-time PT. And the guy who got the job over me left within the first year. I got offered a job 3 times in the time that I was there still, which is across another 3 years, and rejected it every time because I just had better opportunities.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that was one of the biggest moments for me becoming a PT, because it just shows, like, you know, I'm a massive believer of things happen for a reason. You know, you get given opportunities, and it's how you see it, really. You know, I could have been bummed out by it, moaned about it, stayed in that 0-hour contract, felt shit for the rest of however long. But how I reacted was the biggest thing, and that's one of the biggest lessons I ever teach anyone when they work with me, is how you react to a situation is more important than the actual thing itself. And yeah, that's how I became a PT.
Yeah. Good stuff, Matt. I was saying, obviously, talking about that loan and getting the money, it's a shame OnlyFans wasn't around then.
Ah, mate.
You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I was 18 as well. I was fresh,
mate, you're fresh, mate, yeah. No, but no, great stuff, mate. And obviously, what sort of physical changes did you feel like you had to, from gym instructor to personal trainer, were you sort of much like, right, okay, I've now have to sort of practice what I preach a lot more, I have to get in serious shape? Or did you sort of, what was your mind telling you?
Physically, because I started training from such a young age, I've got good genetics as well. I'm not gonna deny that. But because I started training from such a young age, I've always had that drive. I've had phases where I've not enjoyed training, where I haven't wanted to train, but I've just had the discipline from a young age to be able to do it. And I know that, like, that can be taught. But obviously, because I started at such a young age, I was like a sponge then, like, you know, I just absorbed it. So for me, it wasn't necessarily that hard physically to kind of get myself in the shape. I always did it. I know it's like part of my job to practice what I preach. Like, there's always this thing on Instagram that all the big PTs say, oh, you don't have to be in shape to be a PT and stuff. And I agree with that, you don't, but it certainly fucking helps. Like, you know, sure. I've had clients come to me just because I've been in shape. Like, I get people who aren't my clientele come to me asking me to help them get in shape, and I'm like, I just fucking train hard, I eat. That's the advice I can give you. When it comes to fat loss, that's completely different. I can work a lot more in detail with those people. Obviously, I would help people if they came to me and asking for it. I'd give the advice, and then go from there. But my main clientele is with fat loss people that want to get stronger, people that want to benefit from the health perspective as opposed to just like physical appearance.
Lifting,
yeah.
Okay.
And as a byproduct, that tends to happen anyway. So
yeah. Okay. And obviously with clients, obviously you must have had some clients that lack a lot of confidence, maybe a lack of belief as well.
Yeah.
So do you manage them based on that, or do you have like a blanket approach to how you treat clients, or do you can you sort of manage them depending on what their needs are?
It's very, very individualized. You know, I have my templates of how I manage and structure things, but then everyone will have their own curveballs that they throw at me, and it's how I swing to hit that. That it is to help them. And, you know, my experience over the years has got that I've had clients that I haven't worked well with, and, you know, we've parted ways. Like, I've given refunds to people. And then, you know, that's a learning experience for me, to be honest. Like, I started from a very young age, and I actually had a person who, everyone will probably know this person, or a lot of people would, but James Smith, he had a client, and when he was leaving to go to Oz, James passed most of his clients over to me. And one of them was like, I don't want to go with him. He's not got enough experience. He's too young. He hasn't had enough life experience. And I was like, funny, like, you know, I'm a PT. I'm like, I'm not going to be giving you all the advice. Like, chances are you probably give me a lot of advice. A lot of my clients, like, I've been with for years, they've given me so much advice and help and stuff over the years. So it's, I'm helping you with your fitness side of things, but this guy was a very successful businessman. I'm sure you would have given me some very great advice. But either way, obviously it wasn't meant to be. That sort of person, I guess I didn't really want to work with anyway. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you essentially said that you took the pressure off James Smith to become who he was today.
Exactly, essentially, yeah. I was a big stepping stone.
There we go.
Guy,
fair play. No, it's interesting, mate, because obviously like I said, I've just recently left my job at the gym,
Yeah.
doing something different, and I think it just seems like the industry now seems to be so toxic, and it's just like it's difficult to say what it is, because obviously there's a lot of good in the fitness industry, but there's also a lot of toxic and negativity stuff, and like it's so difficult because now, like, obviously at the gym, obviously we both used to work at, there was like a junior active session where like kids from like 11 to 15-year-olds would come in the gym, and like they're just doing things like they just see on Instagram, and they're taking photos of themselves in the mirror, and they're not training, and it's just sort of like, what, you're doing everything bad about being in a gym from such a young age. Like, it's just,
it's fascinating you say that, because I've never viewed it the way you just said it about the things that people are doing from TikTok and Instagram. Because I started in those sessions. Like, I was a member at the leisure centre where we worked, and I did the teen work session, as was it called back then, where you had half an hour on the cardio upstairs, half an hour on the machine weights only downstairs. It was very well supervised, and like, if you were caught on the free weights, you'd be like, what are you doing? Get away from that. Now, like, the gym's obviously a different layout, but they get free roam. Like, I see exactly what you're saying. Like, they try and lift super heavy weights because they've probably seen a powerlifter on Instagram.
They're doing like sumo squats, and they're like 13.
And I was like, I never had any of that when I was that age. And this is what was fun. Like, you saying that, I've never viewed it like that. I never had any social media stuff. Like, I watched YouTube videos on how to get big biceps and how to get a chest and stuff. And I was that classic person that wouldn't train legs, like, when I first started. But I didn't have any of the social media stuff, and that definitely has a massive influence on it, because I've never thought of it like that, but it definitely makes a difference to what they do. And like I said, I see them now, and I was like, I never did anything like that. Like, why are they doing that? But now I know why. So
they're heavily influenced by, funny enough, influencers. But yeah, no, social media, and especially in the gym, it's like, I'm seeing things like, obviously, I'd love to get your opinion on it, because obviously you're a personal trainer and, you know, you're nutritionist and stuff. But like, you're seeing these people like say, oh yeah, like, I've literally seen it for myself. It'd be like, don't eat Monday, Tuesday, just drink water, and then train on Wednesday, have this for dinner. And then it's like, surely, like, we're just overcomplicating fitness now, to the point where so many people go, you know what, I don't know what avenue to go down anymore, because like, there's like 100 different ways of losing weight. Surely, and I could be wrong, you're more, you know, qualified than me, but just train hard and eat well and create a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
Is it that simple?
It essentially is that. And I hate saying, like, just being a calorie deficit, because it is that, but for the people that need to be in it, it's completely different for them, because it's how they see it. You know, like, again, I've got clients that range from all different shapes and sizes, and this is where it becomes down to tailoring it to them. It's like, you know, it's being able to get them to understand the very basics of it, and sometimes they just don't get it, and it's just a case of reiterating. I say the same thing like day in, day out to each client, but it's just in different ways how I explain it to them based on their situation. So essentially, it is your basic of making sure you're eating less than what you're burning, and being consistent with it, making sure you're consistent with the daily habits. You know, I've got a system in my coaching. It's fundamental for, you know, your steps, your hydration, your calories, make sure you're within your calorie target. And then I've changed it recently. It was the gym, but I don't expect people to train every day, because I'm not about that. But sleep hygiene and or sleep gains, I call it. Just working on one thing that would help with your sleep, because when you're and then that's better, everything else is so much easier. It's fascinating. And
no, it's I was reading about sleep hygiene actually a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying, like, they'd done studies, and sleep hygiene and getting a good amount of sleep and a regular amount of sleep is actually a lot more important than sometimes actually having like food.
Yeah, I can see that, because your food choices are going to be so much better when you have had a better night's sleep. And when I say better night's sleep, I don't mean go to bed earlier because you're going to get longer, because I go to bed earlier sometimes and I can't sleep for hours, and then I've had a shit night's sleep because of that. So I'm on about what can you do in your nighttime routine that's going to help you improve your sleep. I know for a fact if I'm on my phone past 8 o'clock and I end up going to 9 o'clock, I'm not going to get a good night's sleep, because I'm scrolling still. And even if I've got my little blue blocker glasses on, something's triggering in my brain to be like, okay, I'm still thinking about this or whatever. So putting your phone an hour before bed away, not going on that, or reading a book, or reading's game changing for me, sleep wise. But again, it's not everyone's cup of tea, so it's finding something that is you. For me, watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine worked. It's something that doesn't really take much engagement.
Yeah.
And it disconnects me from whatever I've done in the day. So yeah, there's loads of different methods, and that's what I mean when you get that little, like, it's about, when I say improving sleep hygiene, it's about 1 or 2 things you can do across a couple of months that's going to help you improve your sleep. And then, like I said, when you improve your sleep, your confidence is better, which then has a knock-on effect to everything else. Your food choices are going to be better, or you're not going to give in to cravings as much. Your gym sessions are going to be better because you've got more energy. Okay, your performance at work is going to be better, which means you're probably going to be in a better mood more often, which means you're probably going to be better with your people at home when you finish your day at work. You're not going to be as snappy. You're probably going to be more intimate because your body's functioning better.
A lot.
Podcast
Big
over.
list.
Podcast over, mate.
Yeah,
It's
done.
sorted.
Yeah.
I've sold.
Basically, sleep. For anyone watching, just sleep. And then, yeah, Luke said it. You can then have a McDonald's basically afterwards.
But yeah, obviously there's a lot more factors to it. You know, stress levels, what you're thinking about. So much comes into it, and again, that's where it comes into just like individual for clients. You know, talking to them. You know, I get messages from clients about what can they do for, like, to help them sleep when they've had a really bad day and stuff like this, or anything when they've had a really bad day. A common one lately has been like, oh, it's been really hot. I don't want to go to the gym. I'm like, all right, you've got a program. I was like, choose 3 exercises from your workout, go and do them. All right. If you've done the 3 exercises and you don't want to do any more, go home. That's fine. More often than not, they end up finishing their workout because they went in and started.
They're just there. They're in the gym. That's the hardest part. Just getting there.
As soon, like, it's that thought about it. It's so much worse, especially when it's hot. I know it's horrible, especially the gym we work in. No offense to Brown Center, but it's a great gym.
Get some aircon.
Get some aircon. Anyway, yeah, it's that thing of like just getting over that initial thought of the thing that you need to do and just doing it. And more often than not, it's going to be fine. There might be the odd time where it's not. If it's not, come back another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair. I mean, because obviously everyone has their own different opinions and sort of mindset on things. I'm very much like, even if you feel like shit, it's just go and train, go and do something. You know, if your arms feel tired, you can use your legs. If your legs feel tired, you can use your shoulders, stuff like that. You can always do something. But if one of your clients was like, look, mate, I've got no confidence, no belief, I don't feel strong, you know, I'm fine, you know, I just go and, you know, I feel a bit down and I don't want to train. For me, I'd inspire them and motivate them so much that they go, you know what, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to come to the gym now.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you go, look, mate, if you're not great, take a couple of days off, come back, I'll check in with you, I'll come back. What's your sort of, how do you sort of measure that with your clients?
Yeah, great question. So I, first of all, see what the actual situation is that's making them feel like that. And then depending on the I'm not saying severity of it, like severity of it, yeah. Depending on the severity of it, I would then be like, okay, yeah, like, completely understand, you're going to need some time. Like, don't forget how the gym makes you feel. Obviously, if at some point in the next week you do end up wanting to do a workout because you know it's going to make you feel better, let me know. Or if it's something that is manageable in the moment, I'll be like, look, it's just in the moment. You know exactly how the gym's going to make you feel when you go in and get it done. Go in, same principle, choose those 3 exercises off the program. I'm not bothered which one they are. And then let me know how you get on. And again, more often than not, they end up doing the whole thing and like, I'm so glad I went. Like, thank you. And it's that level of consistency that they have. That means they don't have to try and get back on it because they haven't fallen off it. Yeah. You know, like they make the wagon up. Like, you can make the wagon up yourself, like, if you want to. But imagine if there was no wagon and you just didn't fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair play. No, interesting point, because obviously, yeah, I overhear some people go, yeah, I didn't feel great, so I didn't train, and I didn't feel up to it. Just, you know, fine, because, like, again, their situation might be huge, might be really severe, might be really sort of uncomfortable for them. But I don't know, like, I'm very much like, nah, just get on and do it. Like, just stop crying, just go and train, go and, you know, run or lift this or lift that. And like I said, like on my first podcast, like, sometimes the gym isn't the answer to everything. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, I'm depressed, so I've got to go to the gym. And it's like, as much as, yeah, you know, like I said, scientifically, you will feel better from doing that. I think, do you think there's a lot of pressure on people now, especially with social media, that they have to go to the gym?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the only answer to sort of feeling a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. But if you're not that way inclined, it's not. Like, if you're someone who is very overweight and depressed and something, they don't have to be very overweight, but the example I'm going to give, because that's who I work with, going to the gym ain't going to be their answer. Like, because they don't have that connection of the satisfaction of going to the gym. Like, their satisfaction is going to be eating, because that's what makes them comfortable, that's what makes them feel better. So my job as a coach, if they were to ever approach me, would be to try and not try and break the habit eventually, yeah, but try and change the contextual cue. If they're feeling down, instead, can they get up and go for a walk around the house or a walk around the block instead, and then come back and see how that makes them feel, because that will change their state, and that's what you got to look at. It's about changing your state in the moment that you're stressed about, and there's two ways you can do that. You can either move or you can change your focus, and if you do both.
No, that's a great point. Great point. Obviously, like, okay, and so we spoke about clients being down and not wanting to train. What about yourself? Is there, because obviously, you know, again, my career goal is I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to inspire a lot of people. And obviously for me, I always thought, what about if I'm really down? I've got to then put on a brave face for other people. So for you, obviously, it's quite personal what you do for people. And obviously some people are probably quite reliant on you. So has there days where you've been like, you know what, like, I can't do today. Yeah. And you've got to just go, you know what, I've got to help these people, because if I don't help these people, then, you know, they're going to feel really down, they're going to feel really depressed, blah, blah, blah. So has there been a situation that you go, you know what, this is exactly what happened and this is how I dealt with it?
Yeah, quite recently. I've had quite a lot going on in the last few months. And it got to a point where I needed a break. So I'm probably the busiest I've ever been as well when it comes to PTing at the moment. Like most clients I've ever had, in the person and online. And because I'm transitioning online, there's that extra kind of additional admin to get people set up, to make sure they understand it, to make sure that they know the processes, and that it's just as beneficial, if not more. And because of all the stuff that had going on, I'd buried myself in work, because that's how I deal with it sometimes. Bury myself in work, which benefits them. But obviously at some point I'm going to hit a burnout, and I did. So yeah. I think it was the day of the coronation. The weather was shocking. And I was just like, I need to get out of here. So one of the things that happened is I'd lost the house I was meant to be moving to. And that was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back, as to say, because like, I love my dad to bits, I love my parents to bits, but everyone like who's experienced it, going back to home once you've moved out is quite a tough thing. And especially because I had a 2-bed house to myself for 2 years pretty much. So yeah, went back. I was sat in the room that I'd been in, obviously, as a teenager and growing up, and I was just like, yeah, I need a break. So I booked flights to Alicante in the next weekend, and I went for 3 days. Gave myself a break. I messaged my clients, and I was like, look, I'm going on a little holiday next weekend. I'll do the sessions up until I go. The sessions are in the app for you to do at home, or in the gym whilst I'm away. And that was almost like a little tester for me to do the online stuff as well. Granted, it was only 3 days. But it gave me the experience of whether I actually wanted to do that, and to know I wanted to do that, and it definitely is something I want to do.
Right,
so
yeah. And obviously, like, I'm guessing your clients were fine with that.
Like, they have a huge respect for me, because again, there's like most of my clients have been with me for a long time. The people that I have in person, and we have a good relationship with I have a good relationship with all my clients. They understand that I needed a break. Like most of them, you get to know your clients quite well, and they'll get to know you because you spend a lot of time. Probably spend more time with some of my clients than I do with my parents, my friends, because I see them 3 times a week, some of them, and I see my friends like once every 2 weeks. Like, granted, I see my dad every day now, but when I lived in my old house, I probably saw him like once a week, if that. Yeah, so you end up getting to know your clients quite well, and they knew I was going through a tough time. Like, obviously the house, one of my relatives is very unwell, and some other stuff, and you know, they knew I needed a break, so yeah, look, go, like, you need it, it's fine, it's not a problem, we can manage. And you know, they did, and that gave me the confidence as well to like, yeah, I can actually make this next move that I need to do. So
that's good. No, that's good to hear, mate, because obviously I can imagine, you know, you know what some customers are like at the gym, mate. Just moan all the time. So it's actually nice to hear that, you know, people can be nice to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, obviously, like, going back to the clients and stuff like that, when you sort of take on new clients or even current clients now, do you sort of, obviously it's all about, you know, on paper it's, you know, it's losing weight and getting stronger and stuff like that, so it's mostly physical, but do you ever sort of help them with any sort of like mental barriers or mental health issues as a coach? Are you more like a personal trainer and life coach at the same time?
I think you have to be as a PT, to be honest. PT is a very, very broad. It's like that you have many different. There's so many different entities. I'm going to use the hats. You can many different hats you need to wear: marketer, business person, like PT and coach, like life coach essentially.
Comedian.
Comedian. Like your energizer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in there as
whack
well.
it in
Honestly,
there,
everything, mate. So yeah, when it comes to like actual helping people with their mental health, indirectly I probably do it. I'm definitely not qualified in that area. Like if someone came to me saying I've got depression, I need you to help me out, I'm not a
You just do the best you
therapist.
can.
I do my
yeah.
best I can, but I'm
Yeah.
not a therapist, and I'd make them aware of that first, because you know, I don't want it falling back on me. But yeah, the thing is, like, it's one of them. It's people will talk to you, and you do it without realizing. Like as soon as someone talks to you, they feel so much better about it. Like I had it with you in the car. You know, me going transitioning online, I've had so much self-doubt over the last week about if it's going to work. Just talking to you about it in the car on the way here made me feel so much better about it, because I was like just reaffirming to myself exactly why I'm doing it, how it's going to work, and that it's going to work.
A problem shares a problem half sometimes.
Exactly.
You know?
So when they talk about it, it instantly helps them, and I can see that. The amount of people I've had come into the gym, I don't want to be here today. I'm like, that's cool. You're here. Let's go. By the end of it,
Yeah,
frankly,
they do that, don't
great.
they?
Yeah, it's
They
great.
walk in, you go, how you doing? They go, oh, do I have to come in? It's like, well,
scan
you're
that
in gym
card,
gear,
get
you
in
scan
here.
the card, you're literally here. Like, do you think I care? Just get in the gym. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I have had a whole day where clients have been like that, and by the end of it, I'm drained as fuck.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's nice to see them walk out feeling like they have, getting the messages saying, Luke, that was the best part of my day, thank you so much.
Good.
And I love it. Like, as cliche as it sounds, and people are probably gonna think like, oh, you're doing that, you're just saying that. I'm not. I fucking absolutely
That's
love
good.
it.
Yeah.
You know, when I get people's progress pictures in, they're fantastic. When I get people saying they haven't made progress, I'm like, okay, so let's look at the real things. Like, what's you done in the gym this week? I got in 3 times. I'm like, what were you doing 3 months ago? Nothing.
There we go. Yeah, there's progress anywhere then, basically.
Yeah,
Is that what
exactly.
you
And it's
teach
just
people?
exactly,
Yeah.
and that's mindset again. It's called. I'm reading a book at the moment called The Gain and the Gap, and it's basically about the gap is basically where you don't see any progress no matter where you are. Like, you know, you could have done amazing, but you're not quite got to the target you wanted to, your ideal result, and because you only see the ideal result, you don't look at what you've achieved. You're always going to be in the gap. Whereas if you're in the gain, it's looking at, okay, so I didn't quite get to my ideal result, but I did achieve all of this. And I find that fascinating. I've heard it so many times before, but this book just says it in a different way, and you just resonate with it. And it's like for me, like when I didn't get that job that I wanted to as supervisor, the gap would have been, like I said before, moaning about it, telling everyone that the manager's a dickhead because he didn't choose me. Or the game would have been like, okay, didn't get that job. What does that mean? Like, what's next? And then there's that. And it's easy to say it, like, being where I basically started at such a young age. But from people who haven't had that mindset, it is hard. I completely get it. And there's been, when I lost my house, I was like in the gap big time. I didn't. Everyone was like, oh, it could mean something else, or you could do this, you could do that. I was like, I don't care. I was like, yo, you're saving over $1,000 a month. I don't care. I was like, I have to go back to my dad's. Don't care. I was like, don't want to. It's not that bad. I've actually got it really easy, which again, like for me, I like a challenge, obviously. But I have got it easy. I love my dad to bits. It's nice to be there, especially at the time with what's going on in my family. So it is probably a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
and
that could be the gain there. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, that's it.
Spending some more time with your family during quite a difficult, period for everyone. So
yeah, exactly. So it definitely, like, once it's happened, you end up reviewing it. Okay, wasn't that bad. Now you're back in the game, sort of thing. But you're either in the gap or the game. You're never in both at the same time. And there's nothing wrong with being in the gap, because that's how you learn as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's like we were discussing earlier. For me, obviously, with what I want to achieve in my life, I told probably friends and family what I wanted to do in my life, and obviously they all backed me. They're friends and family, and they all knew that I wanted it so much. But then it becomes quite tiring when I just kept telling them, and then I wasn't doing anything, and I was mistaking movement with progression. I was doing a lot more, but I wasn't actually getting close to what I wanted to do, and I was probably in a gap for like 7 years.
Yeah,
and out of that 7 years of procrastinating of what I wanted to do in my life, I probably, looking back on it, I had a gain in about a year. So 6 years I was in a gap, and like for anyone listening out there that genuinely does have some sort of goal or some sort of dream in their life and they're just not working towards it, move. Genuinely start moving, because you don't know when you're going to go, and you need to get out there. You need to start moving. You need to start dreaming, because if you dream, people will follow, and you'll either inspire other people around you, or you change a lot of people's lives just because chasing after you want to do. That's all it is. Chasing after your dream and going after what you want is going to inspire so many people, and you won't even realise. So do it.
Yeah, action is the only answer.
Exactly.
You can think about it all the time.
Exactly. So yeah, do it. So yeah, there we go. Back in the room.
Nice.
Yeah, but obviously it's good. Obviously talking about your business changing from being on the gym floor and changing to online. Is there any sort of, what worries do you have really?
The main doubt is going to be, because when online first became a thing, it was just before COVID, online became a thing, and I was like, nah, I got it into being in the gym. The one-to-one stuff's what I'm going to do. And as I've got older and more experienced in the PT game, I've realised that PTing isn't just about being in the gym with people, because it's such a small period of it's such a small piece of the pie. Like, what they do outside of the gym, they have so much more time to do in. Their habits around what they do is what's going to inflict a bigger impact on their result, as opposed to just being in the gym. The gym can maintain where they're at to the best. If they don't do anything outside the gym, it can maintain with where they're at. But if they were to manage their habits outside the gym a lot better, that's going to get them a better result. And that's where, for me, online is going to be able to do that. Because if I'm seeing people in the gym, I know for a fact some people don't do anything in between our sessions if we have more than one a week. Or even if we have one a week, they don't do anything in between. And that's a little bit on me, because it's me keeping them accountable. But at the same time, it's on them because I can't do it for them. And I have my levels of accountability there. I have the support there. And I know for a fact, if I see people in the gym more than once a week, I'm not going to message them as much as I do the people that I don't see at all because they're online. I know for a fact I have a higher level of accountability for the people online, because that's set there at the beginning. And now I'm transitioning fully online. That accountability is going to be so much higher, because I'm going to have more energy, because I'm not going to be in the gym all the time. Right. So I'm able to put more into there. But when it comes to the worries about it, there's always going to be that initial worry that people aren't going to like it. I feel like I've done a pretty good job at setting the expectations for my clients that are moving from the in-person to online, by showing them exactly how it works, giving them the support, the structure, and onboarding them the way they need to be. But yeah, there's going to be that initial thought of, what if it doesn't work? And then, like we said in the car, we got to flip it. What if it does work?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that a lot of people don't have.
Close your eyes and jump, mate.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that people don't have, is that other side of the thing. The reason why people don't do the things they say they want to do is because of fear. And, it's that, but what if it doesn't work? That's all they're thinking about. What if it doesn't work? Like, what if it does work? Everyone who's passed a driving test, so no offense, everyone's passed a driving test. It took me 6 times to pass my driving test.
Yeah.
And it's because I got nervous as fuck. And I was always like, what if it doesn't work? And then the 6th time, obviously I was ready. I was like, I know what's coming. I was like, I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
But I made stupid mistakes. I drove on the wrong side of the road. I went through no stop sign. I stopped at a green light. All because of the actual moment I was panicking and stuff. But yeah, sorry, tangent. But yeah, it's...
No, 100%. I mean, pretty sure you had to go to what did you go to last week? Late driving?
Oh yeah. That was actually yesterday.
Oh yes, that was yesterday. Yeah,
driving awareness course.
Yeah,
It was very insightful. Driver's awareness course. I got caught speeding twice in a month. For those that actually want to know, got caught speeding twice in a month. Did my awareness course yesterday, paid the fine, and got the points like last week or whatever. So
nice.
Yeah. Lessons and everything.
There we go. Yeah, no, fair play, mate. Fair play. So obviously, I'm excited for your business to go online.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
I think it'll be good. I think obviously, you know what? I think looking from outside of it, I think you coming away from your clients, and going online, I think, like we spoke about, I think in the long run, they're just going to grow confidence, because obviously, like we said, some people I've trained, some people you've trained, they just become quite reliant on you. And, if it was like, oh, well, if Luke's not in, I'm probably not going to train. But now you say, look, you've got no chance to train now on your own, because I'm going to be basically behind a screen on a laptop. They're going to grow in confidence, because they've been doing it for so long, training for so long. They're just going to go in, headphones in, right, I know what I've got to do now. And then, so many people that I know that want to get into the gym, is like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, but you just do it for a couple of weeks, You know, there'll be people there to help. No one's looking at you in the gym.
Yeah.
No one looks at you in the gym, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a girl on TikTok who went in the gym in her pajamas to prove a point that no one looks.
Yeah. I did a video on my social media. Me holding my camera, walking around the gym.
Oh yeah, I think
no one looked at me. I was literally holding the camera, like just walking around. Like people don't care.
No, everyone's there for the same reason.
Yeah.
No one's looking at anyone.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
people that do look at people, like it's like they're probably thinking the same as you. Like, is he looking at me?
Is he looking
Like,
at
are
me?
you looking at me?
Yeah.
Look at me. you looking at me?
I know, yeah.
So it's funny, isn't it? But again, it's getting that across to people in a way that they understand, and it's that again. It comes straight back to what I've already said about the thought about it. The thought about it is always worse than actually doing it. The thought about going to the gym is horrendous sometimes. Like that's a PT saying that, but sometimes when you just do it, when you just start anything, not just the gym,
Just
when you just start,
Yeah.
you just get more confidence as you do it. It's
Sure.
one of them. Like,
So it cracks me up. It's like that scene from The Hangover where Mr. Chow's like, "But did you die?"
Yeah,
That guy.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what changed my mindset last year when I done my 24-hour run.
Hangover.
Yeah, I watched The Hangover on my phone. Yeah, that was it. Seeing Mr. Chow. Yeah, but no, but yeah, that's what happened to me. Obviously, I finished my run. I think it was like 23 hours, like 52 minutes, something like that. And I just got on the floor and I was like, I didn't die. Like, what's bad about what I just done? You know what I mean? And from there, my mindset's changed of training and attitude towards trying to combat something big and overthinking. It's like, I mean, yeah, if I get hit by a car on the way to the run, and yeah, do you know what I mean? But like
exactly.
doing something like that, what's the worst? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You're just gonna find out, a way of, not doing it properly, and you go, okay, well, next time I do it like that. But yeah, I think confidence is really low in a lot of people.
Yeah, massively.
And I think genuinely it's mainly because of these influencers who will effectively go on Love Island or go on these TV shows, and then they get thousands and thousands of pounds for essentially doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a picture of them with like a brand new Range Rover, and the caption will be like, "Oh, I never gave up on my dreams. I worked hard." And it's like, well, what? No disrespect. You didn't dream of being Love Island when you were 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like, it's just giving so much people with no confidence, because they're like, well, what am I going to do? What do I believe in? What do I want? It's just, again, there's just so many easy ways of making money and being happy now. Like, again, people just rabbit in the headlights. And I do think Instagram is one of the biggest problems with mental health now. I really do. There's just so much, it's just so fake. It's just, you don't know what's real, you don't know what's right. It's just, all these videos, edited and cut and out of context put on there. It just stirs the pot with everything. Yeah, I mean that's all I have to say on that matter, really. Like, do you have any clients that will be like, "Oh, I saw this on Instagram in the gym," and you're like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah, I did a post yesterday, and it was about linking what getting your steps in actually does for you, not just about burning calories. Like, because it's boring if you think about burning calories, but if you think about it as re-energizing you, giving you more vitamin D, or I like to say the D, getting you the D,
Getting the D, yeah.
getting the D, the vitamin.
There we go.
Someone once said to me, if you want to give the D, you got to get the D. So for all the blokes out there that don't get their steps in, vitamin D increases your testosterone. So go out, get some D, and then you can get some more D. Tangent. And yeah, obviously clearing the mind, clearing your airways, like, and it just makes you feel so much better. But you need to think about that and be more aware of it. And this has just come up with something in my head as well, actually. You need to be more aware of what it's actually doing for you, as opposed to just thinking, oh, I've got to go and get my steps in because I need to burn more calories. Nah, if you view it in a different way, change the lens you see it in, it makes it so much easier. Yeah. And then what just came up in my head was, there's a podcast I listened to, and I can't remember the guy's name now. He's a YouTuber, and something he said, actually it wasn't a podcast, it was a TED Talk. I've listened to about 3 different things at the moment, so
That's fine, mate. Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
It was a TED Talk, and the lady was talking about how, like, your awareness of something will improve the ability to actually do it. Obviously, it makes sense saying all that, but the example I'm going to give is she used a study that was done with people who were given morphine for the painkiller, right? There was a group of people that knew it was morphine. There's a group of people that just thought it was a painkiller. They didn't know which one it was. And the people that knew it was morphine felt the benefits of the painkiller, of the morphine, more than the people that didn't know. And it was just the fact that they were aware of that it was morphine, and it's obviously quite a powerful, potent painkiller, right? So that's not to say medicine doesn't work, but if you know that something is there and you know the reasons why you're doing it more, you will be able to do it and better. Your body will be able to use it better. You just know, and it's the awareness of it. And like I said, it sounds so basic. I probably haven't explained it very well, but it does make a difference, like when you actually are aware of it. And it comes back to the steps thing. Like I said, like most people just view steps now as just burning calories, because that's what most PTs and most people on Instagram and influencers are saying. Get your steps in. Why? Because it burns more calories and you get to eat more. Yeah, okay. And that is quite a good thing, but it's not going to last very long. But if you think about the other benefits, it's going to be cool, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, 100%. If you don't want to get your steps in and you have a personal trainer who's going to look at your steps, just put your Fitbit in your car wheel, in the alloy. There we go.
Yeah, or put it on your dog.
Put it on your dog, yeah.
Not
put
your
it on
cat.
your dog.
Cats
Yeah,
just
not your
sit
cat.
around.
I saw someone walking a ferret today.
Really? I've seen someone walking a cat before, actually.
Yeah, a cat, to be fair, a cat's quite weird, but I was like, why is that so close to the ground? It's hovering. And it was a ferret.
So I was at a festival a couple of weeks ago, and there was a duck that was just walking around, and I'd love a pet duck. I mean, I wouldn't take it on a walk, but I'd love a pet duck.
It would. I mean, if you can get a therapy duck in the gym,
yeah,
why not? Why not? I'm pretty sure someone had a therapy chicken on a flight once.
Wow.
Yeah, it was in America, which doesn't surprise me. But yeah, therapy chicken. Right? Yeah, if it works.
A placebo. And that was back to the TED Talk as well. It's like a placebo effect as well. Definitely works. If 100%. It's a placebo and it works, right?
100%. And obviously, like, because I'm finally feel like I'm on the right ladder of what I want to achieve in my life, and I'm trying to put it on so many people now. Like, I've had discussions with people in the gym, like probably like roughly our age, and I go, okay, and they talk about, I don't like my job, blah, blah, blah. I go, what do you want to do? Like, what's your dream job? And they go, oh, well, and it's something like, I'd love to be a policeman. I go, why don't you? Yeah, well, they don't really have an answer of why they haven't either, done research on how to become a policeman, or they just go, oh yeah, well, I've got this and that. And I go, mate, trust me, I'm telling you now, I've done this for 7 years of my life, right? There's nothing worse, because you keep putting something off. You keep putting this vision in your head that you want so much. You keep putting it away. You know it's there. It's almost become reality, because you keep seeing it every day and you're not getting closer to it. And then you get more frustrated, and then you go, well, I think I might be depressed. It's like, yeah, you could be, but I'm telling you now, there's some people out there who just don't chase their dream.
Yeah.
And them basically being in the same position their whole life creates frustration, creates stress, which obviously might then lead to depression, and all because you're just not putting yourself first.
Lack of purpose, yeah.
So you know what I mean? And it's such a shame, because I do, as cringy as it sounds, I do think a lot of people have purpose in this life, and they either go out and get it, or they spend like 50, 60 years procrastinating, and then they go, you know what, like, yeah, I should have done a lot more in my life.
What was the turning point for you? 7 years, like, that's a long time to be doing
mate.
nothing.
Do you know what it was? 100%. And I kept putting it off. And what is quite annoying now, and it's not annoying, because it's just, I'll admit, I was quite jealous of a lot of people growing up, because now on Instagram it just seems like everyone's this like motivational speaker, and for me, I was probably about 20, and if I would have started some sort of platform to speak, how big would I have been in 7 years?
Yeah.
And it's like they've just gone out and got what I wanted. And fair play to them, because, they've done it. There's big names now. They're doing really well for themselves. And I'm thinking that, like, and I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I could have played professional football if I didn't do my knee. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, and friends and family will say, I've been telling people for this for years. I never did. And the point for me was genuinely doing that 24-hour ultra.
Yeah.
It was like, that really just changed my mindset.
What made you do that?
My friend Nick was like, hey mate, I'm thinking about doing a 24-hour run, like, you're the only crazy bastard that'll probably do it with me. I was like, yeah, why not? So wherever I get in my life, I'll thank Nick for that. But my outlook on life and my my mindset on a lot of things has definitely changed because of that. And you read about people suddenly dying or being in this accident, and you think, you know what, like. And then one thing that I saw years ago that will always stay with me, right, was my gran, bless her. She was in this nursing home in Sunbury, and it was a really nice garden. The sun was out, right, and we went to go see her, and we took her out into the garden, and there was a nice little lawn with some plants, and there was some nurses there, and they were putting some drinks and food out for all the residents there, and there was this old boy there, and he sat in his chair, and he couldn't really walk or anything like that. He was just in this chair. But he had a fresh mind. He didn't have like Alzheimer's or dementia. Like he could remember everything about his life. And the nurses there at the time, as much as they were lovely people, they were just sort of like giving him food and weren't really making conversation with him. And and for me, it was like he had no one really to talk to about his life. And if he did, would he be happy about it? Would he, like, for me, I want to work my arse off and inspire so many people and push myself physically and mentally to the point where, like, I'm just like almost broken to help people realise that you can do anything you want in your life.
Yeah.
Right. And then I want to work so hard that I don't really have to introduce myself anymore. And for me, like, if I was to sit there as that old guy in that nursing home and a nurse goes, "You helped my son like 20 years ago. You genuinely helped you stopped my son basically killing himself.
Yeah.
Or you stop this or stop that." That's what I want. And also, yeah, that story I saw years ago, I think it must have been about 2021, and that's still with me. And I'm finally obviously telling people the story. But that was true.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Like,
and that scared me a lot.
To realise that at 21 as well was quite impressive.
Mate, it scared me a lot. I was like, if I'm lucky enough to get to like 85, 90, and I'm lucky enough to not have, dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that, am I going to be happy with what I achieved in my life? Yes or no? And yeah, it might have taken me 7 years to realise that, but I'm glad it's happened now at 27 rather than 77.
Yeah.
But that's what changed me, mate. To be honest,
that's fascinating. It's good. It's always nice to hear stuff like that.
It's good, mate. So what's your career goals then? What are you after?
Obviously, the next step for me is going fully online as a coach and making it work. For me, I want to live abroad for a period of time, however long that is. I don't mind.
Isle of Wight.
Isle of Wight, yeah, that's it, abroad. I've actually been learning Spanish for the last 264 days now. So yeah,
Duolingo. What was it? Duolingo. Yeah,
I bloody love it, mate. Yeah, although I feel like I'm doing well, and then I'll go to Spain and test it out, and then I'll listen to them, and I'm like,
yeah, no, I have no idea. Yeah.
Yo hablo poco español, and
there we go. There we go.
I speak a little English, little Spanish. So yeah, anyway, yeah. So doing a little bit of that, I know. Obviously, I've been to Spain on holiday only. So I know it's not going to be a holiday when I live abroad. It is going to be me working, testing out the online stuff, living abroad for a little bit, coming back, seeing how I feel with it, and then deciding what my next steps are from there, whether I do a little bit in the gym, a little bit in online, whether I do just keep it fully online. But whatever I do, I want to the main goal for me is to be able to help as many people as possible in one time. And the limitations of being in the gym means you can only do so much before I end up killing myself, doing all the hours, whereas online, it's almost limitless with how many people you can help. Because it then obviously means bringing people in as well, which would be quite a nice thing to do. I've always been against that a little bit because I'm I wouldn't say a control freak, but when you have your own thing, you want it done your way.
Yeah, sure. It's your business.
Delegating things is tough.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the next steps for me, is going fully online, deciding whether I want to do that fully or do a bit of a hybrid model, and then from there, how can I help as many people as possible doing that?
Wow, mate, that's Would you obviously you'll. Like, do you know Darren Till, the UFC fighter?
Nah.
Oh, he's a Scouse guy, mate. Proper
really?
Scouser, right? And he moved to Brazil because he wanted to learn jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And now he's in the UFC. And he then spoke fluent Portuguese. And I think he learned that in 6 or 7 months because he was literally thrown into a situation where he had to.
Yeah, you immerse yourself. You're going to.
100%. So, mate, if you did move to Spain and you had to start, personal training and coaching some Spanish people.
Yeah.
Out in Spain, you never know, mate. 4 or 5 months of doing it. I mean, do you know Spanish for gym?
Gymnasium, I think.
Oh, is that easy?
Yeah, I think
of course,
so,
Spanish is easy.
Gymnasio.
Yeah,
Yeah, some words are very similar, some words are completely different. And they have like 4 or 5 different words for the same thing.
Nice.
So yeah, it's
good, man.
Very versatile.
Cool, man. Right, well, to wrap things up, mate, obviously I'm going to try and ask my guests this towards the end of the podcast. Advice for the next person.
Yeah.
So Keith gave you some advice on some things. So my question is, I don't know who my next guest is yet. I've got a few ideas, but what would your advice be to them if they started to get, and it's going to be quite deep now, if they started to maybe ever get in their life, start having maybe like suicidal thoughts of just going, you know what, I'm just done now. I'm done in this world. Like, I'm so unhappy, I'm so depressed. Like, I know it's a very big question, but what's your advice to them?
Great question. You know, the classic advice would be to like go talk to someone and stuff like that, but sometimes that isn't enough. Like, talking does help. Action is what makes a difference. Like I said when you were jokingly having a go at the camera over there, like, action is the only answer to get out of anything or to do anything or to achieve anything. Like, you can think your way out of situations. Rarely do people think the ways into situations unless it's in the negative way. Like, unfortunately, if it's someone who's looking to who is thinking about, I'm done, like suicidal thoughts or whatever, you'll think yourself into that. But doing your way out of it is important. And, you know, that's my coach has always said, like, action is the only answer. And that's the thing that stuck with me. Like, I have a journal, and in the journal, we always write a power message at the very top left. And it's nearly every single day on, like, action is the only answer. If you can take one small piece of action, that's going to be your first step. Like, you know, if you're someone who lives in a shithole and you don't do anything, but you know you want to sort it out, just what's one piece of action you can do? Just clean the knives today. Just take your socks and put them in the laundry basket, something like that. And just one small piece of action, because that is then the stepping stone. Then the next day, one small piece of action. Right, do the forks today. One small piece of action, because that's what's going to get you a result that you want it to do. And, you know, talking is one small piece of action, but then it's the action from the talking that you need to do as well. You know, you can plan everything, but if you don't act on it, it's just words on paper, innit? Or in your mind or anything.
That's it, mate. Absolutely perfect. Luke, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Oh,
and for all of our viewers and listeners, if you are thinking about getting into, like, you know, getting a personal trainer or getting coached online about nutrition and stuff like that, this is your guy. He's pointing at his badge. He will be on our Instagram.
Luke Randall Fitness.
Yeah, Luke Randall Fitness. There we go. And he's also on mine. So if anyone wants to follow me, follow him as well. But yeah, cheers, guys. And yeah, all the best on your new business, mate.
Thanks,
and
mate. I appreciate it.
Who knows, mate? We might get you on another day.
Love it. Thank you very
Take
much.
care, mate. No worries, buddy.
Bosh.